And this is the Notorious Jawcast, and joining us is City of Moose Jaw City Manager Maryse Carmichael. Maryse, thanks for taking a few minutes for us.
My pleasure.
We're going to talk today about, first, the City of Moose Jaw Strategic Plan, the 2026 through 2029 Strategic Plan, which was officially adopted by City Council at the September 8th meeting. Maryse, first, can you tell us the process and tell the residents about the process it took to get this strategic plan created, which really began very soon after this council was elected last fall?
Absolutely. And since the 13 November election last fall, there's been a lot of work. The first priority for council was to go ahead and go through the budget and approve that. Once that was completed in January, then the next major task for council was to look at, okay, how do the next 4 years look? And what do we want to accomplish? What is our strategy to achieve what we want? So we had time to reflect. Council, with the help of a facilitator, went through an exercise of figuring out what is important for them, for our community, for our residents, and then we did some work with our own administration, employees, to finally come to this strategic plan. So the strategic plan, as you mentioned, from 26 to 29, and why all the way to 29 is to ease the transition to the next council. We'll have elections in the fall of 28. So then this strategic plan will still be valid and will still be good all the way to the first year of mandate of the next council.
There are 5 key priority areas in the strategic plan, which we'll get to in just a second. But, I guess maybe we begin with the vision, which kind of is the very first thing you see under the word strategic plan. You see the vision for the city, and then everything should flow from that vision, correct?
And it really speaks to council's priorities. In this vision, we talk about leadership. We talk about exceptional service to our really proud community, financial management, and you'll see that in some of the pillars, and innovative business development. So really to make Moose Jaw the place everyone wants to be. So that's really the vision for our community.
Absolutely. Below that, there's a mission that says, through efficient and effective leadership, the municipal government encourages citizen participation and supports a high quality of life in a safe community by ensuring quality of service with amenities in a responsible and sustainable manner. And I guess, can you explain, I guess, the difference between the vision and the mission?
It's really how we will accomplish it. The vision doesn't stop at 4 years from now. It really goes, council really also thought about, a little bit like First Nations do, think about 7 generations from us, really looking at the future and then bringing it back to what they can influence the next 4 years. And then the mission is really how we're doing it, and a little bit more precise in that case.
Absolutely. And so then from there come the priority areas that will guide the actions over the next 4 years. And let's start with the first one, which is a resident-centric community. And on the high-level graphic, I'll just remind residents that we've got the graphic that shows a high-level look at the 5 key priority areas. The full strategic plan document is also there, and we've got it all on our strategic plan webpage on the City of Moose Jaw's website. But starting with resident-centric community, Maryse, can you touch on a couple of the key points?
Exactly. What does it mean to have a resident-centric community? It's really about a safe, vibrant community, affordable, and really with great community spirit. It's also where our residents feel valued, feel engaged, and where we can strengthen the trust and the collaboration between city administration, council, and our residents. So that's really, and I'll remind all our residents, it is the vision. This is what we aspire to do. We might not be there in all those areas. We're working hard to improve, and that's exactly why we have this strategic plan.
And should also remind residents, as we record this, the City of Moose Jaw prioritizing our future survey is out. So again, starting that engagement process with the survey, and we can bring results back to council ahead of the 2026 budget deliberations that will happen at the start of winter in December. Moving on to economic growth and partnership, Maryse.
A really important part of growing our community, really having the economic investments into our community, and really looking at the key industries for our city and what we can do to promote growth there. We're talking agriculture, tourism, transportation are all important to our community. How do we attract investment? How do we drive the growth and the economic resilience? We've seen a lot of major impacts worldwide affecting all of us. So how can we be resilient? How can we have good, diversified businesses in our community?
And the one thing that's really striking again about the 5 priority areas is how they do all touch on each other. We're talking about growth and partnership and being a hub for business development. The next key priority area is sustainable infrastructure and environmental stewardship. And many of the things involved there, we need the infrastructure to help support industry and residents come here. And so again, all those things are certainly intertwined.
And on the infrastructure, I don't think it's a secret for any of our residents. And across Canada, it is the same. Many municipalities are facing an issue of aging infrastructure. We're not immune to that. We have our lift station, Crescent View lift station that serves the entire city that needs to be renewed. We have a project, but it's a $66 million project. So we need to look at how is it sustainable? How do we keep it for many years to come? How do we invest in this modern, reliable infrastructure? Our Thunderbird Bridge, Fourth Avenue Bridge, same thing. The infrastructure there needs help. So how do we prioritize all of this? Look at the climate effect on this and the environmental side of the infrastructure. So that's that's our third pillar.
Yeah, and some of these pillars they are not all, say brand new ideas. In many ways, they're building upon things we've done. For instance, on the environmental stewardship, the Climate Action Plan, which came into effect in 2019, we've seen over 11% reduction in emissions from our facilities with that plan. So it's really how we can build upon some of these things as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, and continue the growth for the city and to innovate as well.
The next pillar, financial responsibility and transparent governance. And we do often hear concerns from residents that too many things happen without us knowing, or those sorts of things. So this is one pillar to help address that, is not?
And this is continuing on a conversation that we've had already for a year or two. I brought in for administration accountability, rigor. His worship in his initial inaugural address talked about accountability, rigor as well in our day-to-day decisions, knowing that every dollar or pretty much every dollar that we spend comes from residents. So that's really important to think about this. And so how are we as fiscally responsible as we can while we're ensuring that it's affordable for residents? How do we promote the awareness to the real true costs so that residents know where we spend the money? And how do we communicate all of this as well and proper reporting both yearly and throughout the year in our quarterly reports?
Yeah, and so the final key pillar, a vibrant, safe, and welcoming city, and again, as we talk about the financial responsibility and people's tax dollars, tourism, among others, is such a key role in getting other money flowing into our city for our businesses and our residents. And so we need to be that vibrant, safe, welcoming city to keep that tourism economy growing.
And it's a little bit of a circle. It almost brings us back to that first pillar of resident-centric. When we're talking about having a vibrant community, we see it and we feel it. We have such a beautiful downtown in Moose Jaw. We're very lucky in the prairies. There's not that many vibrant downtown, and we have one. So the commitment to public safety, the clean spaces, and really looking at the recreation opportunities, both for us, both for tourists that are coming in our city, and really how do we strengthen our identity for tourism, which also links to economic development and growth as well. So like you mentioned, all these pillars are linked in some way or another.
So those are the five pillars of the City of Moose Jaw 26 through 29 strategic plan. As mentioned, you can see the strategic plan, both the high-level graphic and also the full document on the City of Moose Jaw website on our strategic plan page. We'll have the link pop up for you here on the Jawcast. So again, a big accomplishment that will help guide actions from the city. And I guess maybe I'll tie the loop there on this one, Maryse, because this came up in the recent council meeting as well. This is a guide for us as we in the city administration go and plan projects and our actions. We can be guided by the strategic plan. And maybe I'll have you touch on the key performance indicators piece that you also introduced the other night, which is another way to help us measure the success of what we're doing.
It is through the key performance indicators. And also one thing I'll touch that's part of the strategic plan is our values, because we want this strategic plan, and that's where the one-page summary comes in and plays a big part. Is going to be for our employees to see that every day and to look at those values, the professionalism, the integrity, the respect, the pride, the one team approach. Those are the five key values that will guide us. And then on the key performance indicator, fully linked to fiscal responsibility, fully linked to the infrastructure, the being able to follow and have the proper data and make decisions on some of our sustainable infrastructure. So yes, this is a new program, that's an official now program citywide for measuring the work that we do and reporting to residents and council.
Okay. Again, you can see the full strategic plan and documents on moosejaw.ca. Let's switch gears, Maryse, and spend a couple minutes talking about SAMA, the Saskatchewan Assessment Management Agency. It's been a few weeks since Council adopted a resolution to contract SAMA again to provide assessment services for the City of Moose Jaw, and many interested people in the city wondering about that process. And maybe one of the key questions again was why were they chosen again to perform that service for us?
And that's an excellent question, and one that I'll just touch first on. Two responsibilities for the city is, well, the two responsibilities are taxation. We all know we live with taxes, and assessment. So these two responsibilities are city responsibilities, where assessment is about the value of your property and how we compare all the different properties in the city. Taxation is a way for the city to collect funds to so that we can operate our city administration. And one note that's super important is and how we're always cash neutral. So we don't collect more than we need in a given fiscal year. So let's go back to SAMA, Assessment Services. We used to have our own assessment services at the city several years ago. Throughout the province, it's a mix between the cities, whether they have their own assessment services or they use a third-party company. In our case, the city decided to I think this is the second or third contract. So over 6-7 years ago, we decided to go with the Saskatchewan Assessment Management Agency, SAMA, to provide this service for the city. So in terms of strictly assessment services, that's what this renewed contract or new contract is bringing us. Why do we go with them? Well, they are a trusted partner. They are professionals at doing assessment. We had some analysis internally on what would it cost to restand our own assessment service department at the city, and as we're comparing what we could do internally and what SAMA offers, SAMA was the preferred choice to have them provide assessment services. One point I'll make is that when we're talking assessment services and we're talking about assessing the value of your home, at the end of the day, whether it's our own employees at the city or it's SAMA, everyone has to follow the provincial act. And that's where the regulation in the act comes from, is from the province. And that's the manual on how we have to conduct assessment. So that being said, yes, we're going with SAMA. This city council did approve the resolution, as you mentioned, and this new agreement comes into effect on the 1st of January 2026.
Yeah, and beyond the trust factor and some of those other things you mentioned, I mean, certainly there's also a financial element to this as well in terms of, had we decided to move on to a different group or different people doing the assessment, that itself would have come with some major financial implications.
The financial impact is important, and also the human resource aspect. Being able to, if you do a quick search on assessment and assessors, there's a shortage of assessors. So for the city to go ahead and start our own assessment services with a reduced group here could be a real challenge to have qualified assessors. And if we don't have qualified assessors, we don't have the assessment. If we don't have the assessment, we cannot go ahead with taxation, because then there's an issue there. So the real positive about SAMA is that they are province-wide. They have a lot of assessors that they can use throughout the province to supplement perhaps our office here in Moose Jaw if required. And so the depth of their expertise is really there, which is important for the city to ensure we don't miss assessment year or reassessment year, and in turn our taxation.
Yeah. And another reminder too is that SAMR does operate at arm's length from City Council. City Council, the city, not involved at all in the assessment process.
Correct. It's a professional service that provides the service. And again, I will say it, following the provincial assessment manual and the act, and that is really at the end of the day how they conduct assessments.
All right, Maryse, anything else you'd like to mention on SAMA?
I think no. I think we've discussed it. There's lots of questions. Maybe the one thing I'll mention is that yes, this year is a reevaluation year. Some residents might find that they might think there's an issue. If there is an issue, don't forget you can appeal your assessment. There's again an independent board of revision that will go ahead and look at the assessment. So if you have a question, don't hesitate to ask. You can call through the city or look on the website, and then we'll direct you, whether if it's a tax question, it's going to be us. If it's an assessment question, we'll redirect you to SAMA, and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions.